All right, anybody that's already joined, thanks for joining. We're going to get going here in a second. Waiting for Philip Jones, one of our editors, actually has already had hands on the new Tundra. He's going to join here in a minute. So good evening, Phil. We are already actually broadcasting on YouTube. So just so you know,
Okay.
before we get too crazy, how are you this fine evening?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks for agreeing. We decided to do this like 6 hours ago. So
Yeah, no, it's good.
I'm just getting everything set up here. So TCT, we have a video that's going to come out. It'll be allowed to go live at 9 p.m. Eastern, so about 28 minutes from now. That's the same time as everything else is finally allowed to publicly be revealed.
Right.
The other thing I'm doing is I'm pulling up the game because at halftime, but halftime probably won't be for a while. That's when I think when Toyota's like officially unveiling his halftime at Monday Night Football. So we'll probably actually be done with our stuff by then, which is fine because it'll be late here for those of us on the East Coast. It's a work day tomorrow, but yeah, we've got a few people watching. So what I'm going to do real quick, if I can find the phone, is I'm just going to put on all our social networks, let everybody know that we're live, and people can hop on YouTube. And we already have our first question. James says, "What time's the announcement?" So the announcement's at halftime of the game tonight of Sunday Night Football. Many media outlets, including Toyota Cruisers and Trucks, were able to get some advanced information. And so we're allowed to publish all that at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. So 27 minutes on the clock. Very excited to be able to put our video out there. We're not doing the full coverage that Phil has already written because we're saving that for our issue that's coming out in the next week or so. So you have to wait a little bit to hear Phil's first thoughts. But we'll talk through some of that as we go through this. So I'm going to pause and mute myself for a second. And I want to try something. If I hit stop video, Phil, do you see do you see a Tundra photo?
I do.
Okay. Let's see if that shows up on YouTube. We're at about a 30-second to 1 minute ad. Nope, it just shows my name. So I'll just mute myself and people can look at me. Just give me like 30 seconds to do some social. And of course, my background goes away every time I do that because Zoom just updated and currently broke. So there's my office, if anybody's curious.
I'm outside.
I like the Tundra sunroof a little bit better.
Yeah, looks cool.
Let me get some stuff going here. Yes, that's and where am I? There I am.
Yeah, looks cool.
Oh goodness. Now we're gonna hit feedback. That's gonna be ugly. Okay, so do that. We are live. Done. Photo. I'm just trying to get this post out. How do I share? Tell how much I do live streams on YouTube. I'll just do our videos channel. All right, here we go. Do that. Do that. Phil, do you want to maybe just give a couple of initial thoughts on the new Tundra without giving specifics that we'll get in trouble for?
Sure. I can do that. So, one of the things that when you read the article when it comes out in the magazine, you will see that there was an atmosphere among and let me give you a little background. I got to go attend a press day event at Toyota Corporation. Fortunately for me, I live 7 miles from Toyota headquarters, so so where they held the press event was a top secret place, and so they bussed us there, and they set up a big stage. It was an incredible presentation. But even the night before, when they had dinner with us, and we were all on a rooftop restaurant and bar in Plano, Trinity part of Plano, and just listening to the product and marketing team employees as I made the rounds and got to know them. Some of them I already knew, some of them I was meeting for the first time. They were all so excited. There was a high energy level about this truck, and they just kept saying, that night, you wait till tomorrow. You can't believe what you're going to see. Then the next day, they bust us in, and we go into this place. They've got all these trucks set up, and they gave the presentation, and that energy level just continued. These folks are so proud of what they've done. And I think some of that comes into some of the contributing factors to that is Toyota had to reinvent itself to make this truck, because one of the things you will discover is there is no carryover from the current generation Tundra.
Right.
This is a whole new, from the ground up, whole new design, interior, exterior, powertrain. Everything's all new. They knocked it out of the park. I think the big three American automakers that have been leading in full-size trucks are going to be very, very, very nervous when they see what Toyota has done. There's no bland styling, interior, exterior. It is phenomenal. Technology is phenomenal. They've got this whole team now called the Connected, Toyota Connected, and they really did a great job on the technology in this truck. Unfortunately, they can't tell us yet the fuel mileage numbers, but I will tell you that when I was talking to chief engineer Mike Swears, he's legendary, right? I have a TRD Pro Tacoma. He designed that. Okay. Now he's chief engineer for this Tundra project. He knows I have that Tacoma, and he and I are standing next to a TRD Pro Tundra talking one-on-one. And I told him that I kind of missed the V8 in my old 4Runner, but I like the fuel mileage better in my new Tacoma. And then he just grins and he points to the Tundra. He goes, "This gets better fuel mileage than your Tacoma." He was already trying to sell me to, to upgrade, but they plan to publish those fuel mileage numbers in mid-October. But the forced induction engine options, plus because both engine options are 6-cylinder forced induction, and
there are two engine options.
Yeah, you'll
talk about
learn
in a
more
minute.
about, yeah. And then there's the 10-speed transmission, but they also did some aerodynamic things with this truck, to really, they said they focused on fuel economy this time. They didn't waver from their QDR, which is their quality, durability, reliability. They stuck with that. And they gave examples of how they overbuild the truck. They gave examples of, here's what our competitors do that use the same transfer case that we use, but we use a bigger chain. They gave various examples of overbuilding. And they talked about the 1,000,000-mile Tundra. You remember that made all the news. A guy who was
a good friend, Tim.
Yeah, he was driving hot shot for the oil field industry. He racked up 1,000,000 miles. Toyota got the truck from him, and Mike Swears talked about taking that truck apart. He said, everybody was worried about it, was fascinated, what's the powertrain going to look like? He's like, I want to see the guy's driver's seat. He wanted to see what the seat looked like, right? But when they took the truck apart, he said they weren't totally surprised. The truck was in great shape. The only part that was a problem was the bed of the truck. He said, so we fixed that with this new Tundra. And you'll learn more about that they went away from a metal bed, and because they don't want corrosion, they don't want dents. There's some aerodynamics even built into the tailgate. They came up with some genius technology for the tailgate. They did the interior. Let's go to the interior for a minute. The interior is unlike any Toyota truck I've seen yet. They really went all out on that. There's a lot of focus on helping truck owners who tow. There are a lot of features related to just towing, integrated brake controller, cameras, that kind of thing. So
special modes. I was watching. So again, since we cover Toyota things, we got to see some of the stuff early, and Philip's talking about his experience going to actually see the Tundra in person, which was really exciting for all of our crew. And so I'm watching through the videos, still haven't read all the tech specs on everything. And yeah, there's some towing related features that, you're right. The first thing Phil said, he said, Shane, you're going to want to get this truck as soon as you see it. And here we are, 18 minutes from officially unveiling it. And yeah, I want to have one as soon as possible. I don't know when I'm going to be able to have one, but because I don't even have a trailer anymore, like I couldn't use the towing features very well right now. But I really do feel like, and of course we're enthusiasts, right? But we also look at all the other options. We also are somewhat familiar with everything that's out there, and we are extremely familiar with Toyota reliability. Everybody in our crew has Toyotas. Most of us have had multiple Toyotas. And the main reason that we stick with them is, for me anyway, and I think it's the same for the rest of the crew, it is for that reliability, the QDR, as you were saying.
They talked about, I was going to throw something in. So they talked about brand loyalty, and they said that they have over 80% brand loyalty. And what you're talking about, Shane, is exactly why people continue to buy Toyota products. Yeah.
And we haven't traditionally bought Toyota products for the latest and greatest, right? Toyota is notoriously slow is kind of a strong term, but let's just say it, right? They're not quick on the uptake for updating things, for changing, like the tech in my last Tundra, my 2018. Like it was rough. You get a rental car somewhere and it has CarPlay and Google Play and all these great, wonderful things. And it was available, I think, in the last couple of years of Tundra, but it took a long time for that tech to get there. But again, it's because they are very methodical and they're very, they do everything on purpose. And so all that being said, 16 minutes away now, so we can still have 16 more minutes to talk about stuff. I'm very excited about it. I've been waiting for this. We originally thought they were going to announce the new Tundra in like the Tacoma came out in 16. So I want to say it was like 2018 was about when we started expecting the new Tundra, maybe 2019, 2020, to come out. And every year, look, here's the refreshed. We have new colors. We have a couple things, push to start and CarPlay, and things just kind of trickled out. So I think I even wrote in one of our articles. And so, by the way, we're going to have so much coverage of this Tundra. Everybody's probably going to get a little bit sick of it, but it is what it is. We're going to have so much coverage of this Tundra in the next few months as we're able to announce things, as we're able to drive things, as we're able to hopefully spend a lot of time behind the wheel. We'll have a lot to say. Where was I going with that? I just from the beginning, it looks like they hit it out of the park.
Yeah,
So,
they knocked it out of the park for sure. One of the things that we talked about there, even other journalists would talk about is in the past, kind of like what you said, Toyota was kind of sometimes slower to get to a certain level of technology, whereas their competitors in the truck market would offer all kinds of gadgets. Now, those trucks didn't have the same kind of reliability, but they had all these gadgets and bells and whistles, right? And I think this time, Toyota's not going to be behind. I think in some of this stuff, they are going to leapfrog over their competitors. It's an amazing truck. It really is.
So earlier I posted that we were going to go live tonight, and of course there weren't a ton of comments, but the few comments that were out there, I'll keep my V8. There's no way a V6 is ever going to, all of those. So yeah. First I want to touch on that, and then we'll touch on the aesthetics. But yeah, first, I'm going to be honest. Both my Tundras were 5.7s. They had plenty of power when I needed them. Yeah. The mileage was horrible under towing conditions, and that's the thing on the forums. You don't buy Tundras for mileage. So are we going to miss that power? Now, you haven't been able to drive it yet, but you are a car guy. The things about the cars,
right?
And we know that this setup, or we're pretty sure that this setup has been used in Toyota before. This is not the very first time that this engine has been in a Toyota or Lexus vehicle. Is that fair to say?
No, well, so it's a 3.5 liter V6, but not the same 3.5 liter V6 that's in my Tacoma. It's a completely different platform. And what they did to it will exceed the 5.7 liter in tow capacity and by far in fuel mileage. I don't think, you'll miss the rumble of a V8 if you have aftermarket exhaust, especially, you'll miss that. Yes, naturally aspirated engines have linear acceleration, but that's more important in a car than in a truck. I think people will be amazed and don't think in terms of, it's going to be like the Ford EcoBoost. No, it is so much better than that. I think people will quickly see this is the direction. This Toyota went in the right direction on powertrain.
I feel like that too, just after reading the brief specs that we were able to go through. And every time that I stop my video, Zoom is killing my background. So give me a second here. Yeah, with the available options, and I won't talk about capacities for 12 more minutes, but the capacities, the information that we've been given so far, towing capacity wise, I think everybody's going to be pretty. Now, of course, this is manufacturer specs, so we have to test it. We have to, once we can get these things in our hands, we can actually do all the work to test it, and there will be plenty of people doing that. But the specs look really good, and I would be surprised if Toyota put something out there that didn't feel as good or better than what we've been used to. So I think that's going to be a pretty important thing. Yeah. So real quick, let's talk about the aesthetics from what has been out there already, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've shown a couple versions of the truck that are out there. That very first one was the TRD Pro that to me, the front end looked ginormous because of the way that it was styled, all black, all the way down, kind of almost to the ground. But again, you've seen it in person.
Yeah.
What do you
So,
think? And you've seen all the trims.
yeah, so I will tell you, it looks even better in person. I don't think the photos necessarily do it justice. One of the things they talked about when they talked about the exterior design, two words they used, chiseled and interlock. And what they mean by that is you'll see that the various pieces around the truck interlock with each other. So as you transition from side panel to front end, or side panel to the back end, or anything like that, it interlocks. And then when you look at the side panels in the hood, they call it chiseled. There's angles to it that give it a more 3D look. They wanted to improve the aesthetics. They wanted a more aggressive front end, and they achieved that. And as you go up in trim level, of course, the aesthetics improve some, especially on the front end. And the TRD Pro is going to be the top of the line, and it's got the most aggressive front end. You see that vicious looking grill. You can see in the photos they released, there's the LED light bar integrated. They've got the marker lights, and then they've got kind of this digital, what I call the digital camouflage pattern on certain exterior pieces, including the wheel wells, the border over the wheel wells. They did an incredible job with the aesthetics, and like I said, it looks even better in person.
Just looking at some of the stuff we're going to be sharing here in a minute. So I'm just going to go through, and for anybody that's joining, I've got like 6 screens going here because that's how I roll. So what we're doing is this is Shane from TZT Magazine and Phil Jones, one of our longtime editors, who actually had the opportunity to go see the new Tundra in person. Nobody from the crew has been able to drive it yet, but hopefully that's coming very, very soon. So we're just chatting through kind of Phil's impressions and just going through what we already know and what we think about the new Tundra, waiting 8 more minutes so that we can officially and legally, with all of our agreements, reveal what we know. And so at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have a video going live on the TCT Magazine YouTube channel. So we'll probably pause and let everybody watch that once we get to that point. And then we also have an article going live on the website, and we'll talk through some of the specs. And then maybe I thought we would show off, because the video that I made is only some video B-rolls. It's not all of the photos, and they gave us hundreds of photos. And then for the full coverage, what I'm calling the full coverage, our summer issue that is in development right now, that's going to come out as soon as we can get it done. We kind of paused everything so that we could do this Tundra coverage. Phil's article and all his photos will come out in that summer issue, which will be out as soon as possible. So again, just to recap, the continuing coverage from tonight all the way through this first initial impressions article, and then we'll have some driving articles, and then as soon as we can, we'll actually get one of these new Tundras, hitch it to some very heavy things, tow it around, take it off-road, like do all the things that we do with these trucks, so we can really kind of, and that's the thing, it is, as Phil mentioned, this is a ground up brand new truck. There is nothing on this Tundra. In fact, when you look under the engine compartment, obviously it's a brand new engine.
Yeah.
Everything's rearranged under there. I'm like, well, the air filter's not where it used to be, and the battery. So it is literally in every way. I don't even think they used any of the same bolts and nuts probably from the last truck.
They even changed their entire working model. And I won't go into detail, but they decided the traditional way of designing and developing a vehicle had to change in order to do this successfully and to do it right. And no excuses from any departments. We're going all in. And they completely redid their working model and it shows. It was a big success. It really was.
And we should point out that this is built on their new architecture, the
Yes.
TGA, and forgive me, I don't remember what it stands for. It is built on the all new platform, similar to what the new 300 series Land Cruiser is built upon.
Exactly. They sent that right. They are a similar platform. A lot of what is in the new 300 series is also in this Tundra. Yes.
Yep. And so one of the other big things, let's see, 5 minutes left, that I just pulled up our last coverage. What we know is the rear suspension, right? We know that the rear suspension is going from the traditional
Multi-link
leaf spring to a multi-link, right? So you're now going to have rear shock or rear coils. So if we drive a GX 460, rear coils, like it's going to be that kind of thing. And so everybody immediately, well, there goes your towing, there goes all of your load capacity. Obviously, Toyota is not going to launch a new truck and have a lower towing capacity.
Yeah, they solved that problem as well. So,
and some of the things. So again, I'm not giving anything away, but I think of all of the upgrades that I did to Phil, seriously, I'm going through all the photos that they sent us and all the upgrades that I did on my last Tundra. I don't know which package I would need, but pretty much every upgrade I did to my last Tundra, I can get from the factory now, including upgrades that I didn't do to my last Tundra. Yeah. Everybody's been asking for years and years and years, that is now going to be available on the new Tundra. And it's the thing that's been missing. So
one thing I'll add is not only is the Tundra, depending on the trim level you choose, coming loaded with a lot of great stuff that you would normally have to go upgrade, but they are also increasing their accessory inventory or options for, once you purchase the truck, they're going to have all kinds of great accessories to make this a true outdoor recreational vehicle. And you don't want to miss the commercial. They did show us a draft version of it there, and it drew applause from all the journalists. Realize I was probably the only journalist there that was exclusively Toyota focused. All the other journalists, a lot of them had just come from the Silverado reveal, and they were doing, I could overhear them comparing the two trucks. But yeah, it drew applause from everybody in there. They were impressed with this TV.
All right, it's
about to air.
So it's 8:57, and somebody just posted that, hey, the Tundra is already out. So I just pulled up the Toyota website. It's all here.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit publish on all our things, and then can go through those things and talk a little bit more. So go ahead, Phil, while I do all this.
Okay. So if it's all out, then I can talk about some of my favorite features then. All right. Yeah. One of the coolest options is the center console screen. Standard size is 8-inch, optional size is 14-inch, and 14-inch screen. And you've got a couple of cameras in the back. You have a couple of cameras aiming front, and you have 2 cameras below each side mirror aiming downward. That screen, you push the view button and it'll bring up those camera views for you. If you're off-roading, if you're in your technical area, that'll be awesome. If you've got to back up in the dark to a trailer, that's going to be awesome. It's amazing how they set that up. Also on the screen, like I said, the connected team really went all out on building the technology stack for that, for what we call Connect. Okay. So one of the cool features, for example, let's say you go before I even talk about that feature, let me tell you this. If you do their cloud-based navigation subscription, the good news is you never have to update the navigation. It gets updated via the LTE connectivity automatically. Okay.
So you don't have to pay for updates anymore.
Right. You pay a subscription. The LTE connectivity with AT&T keeps the truck connected, and then and then the cloud-based navigation. But let's say you pull you and some friends are going somewhere, and you pull it up on the navigation. You find, okay, we're going to go to this restaurant. Right there on the screen with your finger, you can click to share that destination with people in your contacts. That the Connect platform has the contacts stored. That's clever. Yeah, it's I talked about the integrated brake controller earlier. There's also an option for automatic backing up of the truck to a trailer. There's also, for 3 of the trim levels, there is a what they call air suspension option. It's basically airbags. Yep. It will lift the rear of the truck to level it after you've attached a trailer or put heavy weight in it. Probably the only disappointment I found was that on the TRD Pro, you can't get that as an option because it's a different suspension. That you're getting the Fox suspension, and they said that the air's not compatible.
Cool. So while you were talking through the tech, I pulled up. So I think maybe we'll just go through some of these photos as we're talking through them, and we can actually kind of do a little peeking here at what we see. First of all, let me zoom back out. Right, I think that's a really sharp interior. It does sound chiseled, but to get into some of the tech that you were talking about, so that must be the large screen.
Yes, that's the big one.
I see the little charger right there. Right, everybody and their brother has put a phone charger in their Tundra.
And here's a cool feature about the phone. So I work a full-time job at a major telecom technology company, and I have a personal mobile phone and I have a work mobile phone because I have a production support team and we're on call for server outages and network outages. When I drive one of my vehicles today, I can only have one of my phones connected via Bluetooth to my, so I can't do hands-free phone conversations if my personal phone is connected and my work phone is not. Toyota solved that problem with this truck. You can now have 2 phones, or maybe you and your spouse both want to connect their phones, right? So that's a really nice feature. For me, that's kind of a big deal.
It is. That's really
cool. And I even joked with the Toyota lady who was doing the Connect walkthrough. She's part of the connected team. I said, well, can I retrofit that into my Tacoma? That feature.
Of course not.
To the lower right of the steering wheel, you see the integrated brake controller. Right below the power button. That's a nice feature.
It is. So now that I'm actually taking a few seconds to look at this, I saw that, obviously. Look what else I see over here, right there. I can't see. Right through there, you see the AC 120. So you can do and a heated steering wheel. Well, why not?
How about that heated steering wheel? Now you're not in Colorado anymore, so you don't care about that. But
we will visit Colorado with the Tundra. Don't worry. That'll be a thing. So going back over here, here's the other thing that I mentioned or I alluded to earlier.
Rear differential locker. Yes.
Rear diff lock is now available on the 22 Tundra. Everybody's been asking for a factory rear diff lock on the Tundra for years and years. It's pretty much the only one that didn't have an option to get it. Along with all the crawl control and drive modes and all that we can talk about. But just from that one photo, I really liked it. I've always liked the Toyota.
And with each trim level, so where that Toyota is, with each trim level, they did something different. If you take a look, let's say the TRD Pro isn't really what you want. You want something, not as specced out as this truck. The Platinum, there's the Platinum right there. The Platinum is nice, luxurious. It's a nice, luxurious truck. They also have the 1794 edition, and that's kind of a Western luxury.
Right.
And what, for those of you who don't know what 1794 is, I'm in Texas, so I know what it is. the very first, the oldest known ranch in the state of Texas was established in 1794. It's called the JLC Ranch. And it was south of the Alamo, which is south of San Antonio. And that is today, that is where the Toyota assembly plant for the Tundra is located, right on that ranch. So that's why they call it the 1794 edition. That's why the interior styling, you'll see wood, you'll see a kind of a Western luxurious theme to it. They are offering 3 bed lengths: 5.5 feet, 6.5 feet, and 8.1 feet. They had a 1794 edition on display for us with the longest bed.
Awesome. I just am pulling up as you were talking our video, so I'm going to try to. I don't know if this will actually stream through here or not. You can always just hit up it just went live on our YouTube channel, but I'm just going to hit this here. It's like 3 minutes long.
So those are what you just saw were screens that those will come up on the dash of I know the TRD Pro. I'm not sure about the other trim levels, but they said that they had those park views that would show up on your digital screen when you start the truck up. It's kind of an inspiration. That was their way of inspiring people,
where do you want
Tundra
to go?
owners to get out and go. Exactly.
Man, so that was our video. You can head up on our YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, then you can probably see it. And so I'm just going to show everybody this. This is on our website, just went live as well. And it has the engine specs and stuff. But first, I'm going to just go through and check out the comments here and see if we're missing anything. I think, didn't we see teaser or spy photos of the Crew Max with the long bed, Phil? Does that sound right to you?
I know that there were, that may have been the ones that came from the dealership. Somebody took photos. They sold on the dealership monitor. I don't know which model that was, honestly. I don't.
So that's a question that people have. Obviously, everybody would love to have a larger bed with the Crewmax. I know that my Crewmax, the small bed, became a problem quite a few times here and there. So that's an interesting. As far as availability, unknown. I don't even think that Toyota has announced availability yet, or pricing for that matter.
Well, so some of the trim levels they hope to have ready for sale in November.
Okay.
And then the TRD Pro would follow about 5 to 6 months later.
Okay, that sounds about right. Good. Let's see, what else do we have? Of course, everybody thinks they're going to miss the V8, and certainly for some people that love the current version. I still love the current version, although now looking at this webpage with my white truck on the cover of the magazine and the new one, I'm like, that new one already.
Yeah, so let's talk about the two engine options. So you can get a twin turbo V6, 3.5 liter V6, or the twin turbo V6 hybrid. Okay. And this is amazing because it is, and I noticed it says 5 liter there, but it should be 3.5 liter.
That's probably because I copied and pasted incorrectly. I will fix that immediately.
Okay. So on the V6 hybrid, they put batteries in there, and they didn't do that so much it's not so much for fuel efficiency, it's for increased torque, increased power. And you can see there, 12,000 pound max tow capacity. You see the horsepower difference between the hybrid and so the other one, the iForce V6T, I see you've got the word hybrid. It should be a hybrid. So the more powerful engine is the hybrid. The weaker engine does not have the hybrid.
Okay, that's what I thought, and somehow, anyway, you keep talking while I fix my editorial errors.
Okay. But yeah, so for example, the TRD Pro comes with the hybrid version. It's and there's a trade-off here. My understanding is if you get the hybrid, you lose some of your storage capacity under the back seat.
Right.
So for example, on one of the trim levels that was the iForce V6T engine, it had they opened the back seat up, and underneath the seat, the storage is designed with hunters in mind. You can there's notches in place to carry your rifle or your shotgun for hunting. The whole thing was designed for outdoorsmen.
And that was one of the rear seat, under seat storage is one of the items that I upgraded on my last Tundra.
Okay.
That I mentioned I won't have to do on this one, along with the air suspension, along with the inverter system. Like there's a lot of things that I did on the last Tundra. I'm just looking for that under seat storage. So you lose the under seat storage if you go with a hybrid, which is unfortunate because Tundras are not known for their great storage options.
Right.
But again, it is what it is. You can't do everything for everyone. So let me just see if I can trying to find some more photos here. So max towing 12,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Now again, OEM max towing versus what you should safely tow, and I'll leave that to the internet forums to argue about forever. I think the max towing on my Tundra was around 9,000 on the Crewmax. I never tow anything over about 85% of max towing capacity. And that's just a safety thing. I did one time with a GX towing a trailer that was too long and too heavy for it. And I felt it was dangerous. And that I changed that situation very quickly because it's just not worth the safety. That is my 2 cents. Everybody else can do what they want. Now on that video that I made, that first one, and again, just for everybody that's still joining us, this is not the end of our coverage. This is the very, very beginning of our coverage. We're going through this launch tonight. We will publish Phil's initial photos and thoughts in the upcoming summer issue of Toyota Cruisers and Trucks. And then beyond that, we will have first drives. We will have towing. We have more videos and more information on things like towing and the different trim levels that I just didn't have time to put everything together. So as we go forward, we'll publish all that, and we'll be active in all of the forums and everywhere that people like to chat about this. I still can't find that interior photo that I was trying to look for. So maybe we'll talk about some. Oh, there it is. I found it. All right, here, check this out. So this is the interior storage option, which looks real nice. That's nice and integrated, and you can basically store whatever you need to in there. So that makes it super helpful. Now, I think I would probably opt for the hybrid, probably because it'll have better mileage, and they haven't announced the mileage yet. And it'll have better power. There's a lot of great things, I think, in the hybrid that I'll be excited about. One thing maybe let's talk about, if I can find that video, is the towing. So this is the B-roll video that Toyota sent us, and just bear with me as I find the really interesting parts. So here we go.
Yes.
Ready?
Yep. Hands free. Right. Hands free.
So he hit the button and he's getting it set up. And he says, all right, back me up. And what it's doing is the truck is just backing itself up underneath the hitch, underneath the tongue of the trailer.
Yep. It's autonomous in reverse. Autonomous driving in reverse.
Oh, so that's actually, I thought he was, he's actually backing the trailer. Oh my goodness.
He is. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually backing the trailer up autonomously right now. And it just looks like it. And then there's the autonomous backing up to hook it up.
Yeah.
So he was actually backing up the entire trailer autonomously. That's a pretty neat feature. So cool. So that was the big thing that struck me about the towing. That's all great. And
yeah, now so pause that for a second.
yes.
Right. Well, he's doing it. He pushed the button. So those two buttons, the lower buttons on the right, that's those are your airlift buttons. So he just hit one of those.
Yeah, and he hit the right one, which is maybe really wrong button. Lost that. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
put in tow haul, and it's going to change how the vehicle handles. Obviously, it'll run higher RPMs before it goes to the next gear. You change your brake controller. Now, what I don't know, and I don't know if it's going to show it on here, is if there's some numerical setting displayed on your digital gauge.
There will be.
Sure,
there will be on
it has to be.
Yep, on my Tundra that had the built-in brake controller.
Okay.
It did that.
Okay.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Now, one thing I want us to talk about. Do you have a photo of one of the trucks, the tail light, the side of the tail light? Let's talk about let's find that button.
Okay, there is a button. There's actually a video of it. And it's probably
that's even better. Yeah. So the powered tailgate. This is a new feature. It's powered in one direction. You can't have a powered tailgate bringing the tailgate back up because there's safety features, but bringing the tailgate down when your hands are loaded, you got that right. That was the button.
Yep.
Just went by it.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Push the button. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Right there behind the tail light and the tailgate, it opens rather quickly, which is nice if you've got a heavy load in your hands. It'll power down. And then when it's time to lift it, they've added assist so the tailgate's lightweight. It feels lightweight.
Right. It's like so it's just lift. Yeah.
Lunar gravity to lift it. It just goes real easy. I like the full rear window coming down is nice. They
love that on the last one.
so one thing. Let's pause for a second. Let's talk about that. One of the things that they redesigned. They know that on the previous Tundra, if you're driving down a dirt road and you've got that rear window down, it would suck dirt into the cockpit.
Yeah.
And so on the tailgate, the top of the tailgate, they added kind of a rear spoiler. You can see it there,
Right there.
that lip, and they said that helps reduce. I don't know if it fully eliminates, but that the whole design of that was to prevent that whole issue of sucking in unwanted stuff into your truck through that rear window.
Bill, can I maybe let you just chat a little bit more through this? I've got to go get the kids to bed because it's a little late for them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe just chat through this and I'll be back in just a second.
Okay. All right. One of the things that was on the trucks in the past, I know they did this for TRD Pro Tacoma one year, and then they did it for the TRD Pro Tundra, is the BBS forged wheels. So those carry forward. Fox suspension. You saw the seats, the TRD marker light. So the TRD Pro is the only one that comes with the marker lights. And when you look in the marker light, each one of them has the letters TRD. That's a little Easter egg. Speaking of Easter eggs, one of the things they did was when you pop the hood of the 2022 Tundra, and you look, at the the top section that's above the radiator, to the right, you'll see imprinted the state of Texas, because that's where the truck is built. And on the left is the state of Michigan, because that's where the truck was designed. So there's neat little Easter eggs to remind you this is American designed and American made. They did make this for the global market, but it was for America first. It was totally done in the United States. We talked about the auto load leveling, rear height control, air suspension, adaptive variable suspension. And there's also the multi-terrain select. So that knob where you saw, you could push a button for tow haul, and there was crawl control. There's also MTS, multi-terrain select. So that can get you through the various types of terrain for full drive. The steering wheel has that center stripe at the top. That's usually seen in sports cars for track use. So it's pretty nice. Toyota put that on there and decide if you decide to Baja your truck, I see when the steering wheel's up top. Let's see. Oh, memory seating. That's a nice feature on most of the trim levels. They have memory seating. Individual driver profiles. This is a big deal. So as part of the new connected platform, you can set a profile up. So let's say you and your spouse take turns driving the truck. You've got your radio stations. She's got her radio stations. She's got her, memory seat. She's got her, anything that's specific to her, your spouse's preferences can be programmed to the profile and recognized by the key. The truck will recognize the key fob. So that's pretty nice. Let's see. Yeah, there's also selectable driver modes for economy, normal, and sport. What I don't know, but I'm anxious to try this when I finally get to test drive one, is does that change the throttle response? And one of the things they did talk about at the press thing was they changed how the throttle behaves. It's one of those things where I'm going to have to experience it myself to really understand it better. But they talked about how they completely, as a matter of fact, one of the engineers responsible for throttles said, look, I've really been wanting to change this. Can we do this? And when they looked at it, they're like, yes, let's do that,
Again,
Uh,
I had a device on my last Tundra to change the throttle response to make it
yeah,
more
yeah,
more better throttle feel. So yeah,
yeah,
so that's a. So I don't know how far you got down the list here, but yeah, there's so much to talk about with the new
yeah.
Tundra.
So
Um,
some of the trim levels will have digital gauge clusters, and some of the trim levels will have analog with a mixture of digital.
okay,
Um, so that's something to point out. So so let's talk about the truck bed. We were talking about that earlier when we were talking about the million-mile Tundra, and the when they looked at that million-mile Tundra, they realized, look, the bed is in the worst shape, the worst part of this truck. Um,
okay,
Everything else held up great, but the bed's dented, corroded. So they went with a composite bed. It will prevent corrosion. No, it be very difficult to dent, and it's lighter weight. So
so
that's a big change.
did composite meaning like
They did
fiberglass, or did they didn't say?
it. They didn't say. I know my Tacoma has composite
Okay,
bed, and I don't even know what the material is because
gotcha,
it came sprayed, so I don't know what's under that spray.
gotcha. Okay, so that's something that we'll be learning more about as we go forward, I'm sure.
The frame they talked about in the past, they did a what they called a 3-tech frame, and I have not had time to go, okay, I need to look that up, see what that is. But they said for this truck they're doing a full box frame.
And
they
they did,
they expect to
yeah,
improve the rigidity with that approach.
and that's one of the famous tests that I've seen around the internet is the flex in the
Yeah,
previous generation Tundra. I
yeah,
can now officially say previous gen Tundra. The flex in that bed was something a lot of people did not love. So yeah,
yeah,
so interesting to hear that they've done fully boxed, and we'll see how that, again, going back to that, this is the same base frame architecture that the 300 series Land Cruiser uses, and that potentially other vehicles as we
yes,
go forward will
yes,
all use
yeah,
globally. So
yeah.
I think that'll be very helpful. So awesome. Let's see. It looks like we're winding down here a little bit. I'm just going to pull up the email they just sent out to everybody. Everybody that signed up for notifications just got the email from Toyota. So
Okay.
let's see if there's anything that we missed. They always tell us a lot of things, but don't always tell us everything. Let's see. Yep, all the same things. Safety Sense 2.5. Let's see. Manufactured in Texas, of course. Suspension, turning over a new leaf. There was adaptive variable suspension. So that's the
Yeah,
adjust dampening based on road conditions.
yeah.
Okay. And then they talk about the powertrains. Okay, let's see. F437 horsepower. Is that what we published?
Yeah.
Yeah, 437 horsepower. Good. Making sure we have our numbers right there. So, right, everybody for years has been asking for diesel, and we've said for years that.
So yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So that was one of the questions that came up. The press asked, Mike Swears, okay, did you say you built this for a global platform? Is diesel an option? And the one of the other guys on the stage said, he said we built it for global platform for other powertrain options. And then the journalist got more specific and said, well, can we get a diesel in the United States? And Mike said, I don't think you want one. He said with this new iForce Max powertrain, the twin turbo V6 hybrid, you're running cleaner fuel, you're getting better fuel mileage, and you're getting 12,000 pounds towing. Why do you need a diesel? He thinks this
sure
is a
seems,
better. Yeah, he thinks
Right.
this is a better option than a diesel.
And
So
and so then everybody will talk about reliability. And obviously this is brand new, so that is unproven. And until it has 1,000,000 miles on it, I'm not going to trade in my 5.7, which is a, it's a, everybody is allowed to have their opinions and their preferences.
yeah,
But again, it is Toyota. They're not going to build something that's going to fall apart, like other automakers that we may have tried in the past. So,
right.
so I'm excited, and I think that I think that the reliability will still be there.
Yeah.
So let's see, talking about driver profiles. I'm just going through. I think we've hit all the.
So if you
points.
bring up a photo, can you bring up a photo of the front of the one of the trucks?
Absolutely. Let's see who we can find here.
There's one more thing I want to mention here.
Of course, now the first one I get, the first photo I click on is the tailgate. Really. Rear seats. Somebody did ask about a front bench seat. I would be surprised if those are already extremely rare. So until they say,
I don't think we're going to see that. I think people got so used to, they've got so much stuff to throw in the center console. Okay,
right.
So there, right below the headlight, to the to the left, our left of the grill, that there you go. That vertical vent.
Okay.
That is there's one on each side, and you've got twin air intakes for twin turbocharger. That's where the air is coming in. Reason being, you can't suck it out of the wheel well, as Toyota has done traditionally, because that's hotter air. When you're running turbo, you need cooler air, and so that's where the air intake is. That's something to keep in mind when you're crossing water.
Absolutely, that is something. And I know that was in the video, but I thought we had a picture of under the hood as well. I know you did, but
yeah,
let's see if they sent us.
Yeah, they set the engine back further to improve handling. They talk about fuel economy was a priority, in handling how it drives. That was the other priority. Yeah, you see the split screen there. That's pretty awesome.
See, there's the interior video. Maybe it's in there. I could have swore that they sent. I really want to just take a quick peek under the hood. Maybe we'll just have to pull up one of your photos. Let's see if I can mess this up. Never before seen. Oh, that orange. Yeah, that orange color. There. All right, we'll just do Phil's.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah. So notice the engine is sitting back further. You see the dual air intakes, one on each side. One's kind of hidden there, but you see the dual air intakes, and you see the battery is sitting in the back,
way back.
Yeah. So all of that was done intentionally to improve handling, weight distribution.
Right. All right. This one looks like that's not the max. That's just the standard twin turbo. All brand new engine.
Yeah,
it's kind of exciting. I've been looking at Tundra engines for so long. It's exciting to see something that's new and different.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Did we miss any other? Obviously, all the TRD Pro things will have all special TRD Pro features that most hardcore builders will not love. So we just had somebody comment on YouTube. I actually work at the factory where we are building the trucks. Y'all are in for a treat. The plant is getting ready for launch.
Yeah. They are having to redo that entire assembly plant, retool it for this truck.
Right. Get it all ready to go. Oh, so cool. Well, hey, thanks for your time, Phil, and thanks everybody that
Sure.
joined us on the live stream, talking about the new 2022 Tundra. And as I mentioned, you see we have, this is our second or third article or third coverage already of the Tundra. It was just released, 34 minutes ago. So it's certainly not the last. There will be plenty of additional coverage from TCT Magazine on the 2022 Tundra coming out. The next will be in our summer issue that we actually paused working on to get this news out. And so we'll continue working on that summer issue and get that out as soon as possible. And then beyond that, we'll have first drives, we'll have test drives of all kinds, we'll have towing comparisons. We will be getting into all of those details as this new truck becomes available and as they're actually out there in the world. So, so again, thanks, Phil, and thanks everybody for watching. And I look forward to seeing everybody out on the trail.
That's good. Good night.
All right, have a good night. See ya.